Ethan had never expected visiting another planet to be so overwhelming. The air was heavier than Earth's, tinged with a faint golden glow that shimmered with every breeze. Strange plants curved toward the sky in elegant spirals, their leaves glowing softly under the planet's twin suns. He adjusted the straps of his pack and tried to take it all in. The festival he had come to witness was in full swing, and the streets were alive with creatures of all shapes and colors, moving with purpose and celebration. Music, unlike anything Ethan had heard, floated in the air, a mixture of tones and vibrations that seemed almost alive. Ethan's mission was simple on paper: observe, learn, and report back on the cultural festival of Lyra's planet, a key member of the Interstellar Council. But as soon as he stepped into the throng of festival-goers, he realized simple was a word humans didn't often use in alien worlds. He wandered through stalls that offered luminescent food, delicate fabrics that shifted colors with the wearer's emotions, and jewelry that hummed softly with energy. His attention was mostly absorbed by the people, their customs, their expressions, the way they greeted each other with elaborate gestures and soft melodic sounds. It was easy to forget he was there on duty. That was when he saw her. Lyra was standing near a fountain, surrounded by a group of her friends and family. Her presence seemed to create a small calm in the chaos of the festival. Her hair shimmered like liquid silver under the twin suns, and her eyes were a vivid shade of teal that seemed to glow softly. Ethan could hardly look away. She moved with a grace that felt almost unnatural, each gesture deliberate but effortless, and yet there was warmth in her smile. She noticed him staring and tilted her head slightly, curiosity in her eyes. Ethan felt a nervous thrill. He had seen beautiful beings before in images and simulations, but nothing compared to Lyra in real life. Without thinking, he walked closer and with what he hoped was confidence said, "I just wanted to say your beauty is incredible. You carry it naturally, it's inspiring." Lyra's cheeks flushed, an unusual sight on her planet, and she looked down briefly before meeting his gaze again. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice like the soft hum of the festival music. "That is very kind." Ethan gave a small, awkward smile. "I hope that wasn't inappropriate. I didn't mean to cause any trouble." But trouble had already arrived. From a distance, a tall figure with a robe adorned in intricate patterns had been watching. Lyra's elder brother, it seemed, had seen the exchange, and his expression shifted from curiosity to immediate authority. Soon, other family members had surrounded them, their eyes sharp and questioning. "You have complimented my sister," the eldest said, his voice firm and resonant. "Do you understand what that means?" Ethan blinked. I think I was just being polite. I didn't." "You have publicly acknowledged her value," the eldest interrupted. "In our culture, this is not casual. A gesture like that signifies intention. You must now consider the obligations that come with your words." Ethan froze. He had not anticipated this. On Earth, compliments were common, often meaningless. Here he realized a simple word could carry consequences far beyond anything he had imagined. Lyra's eyes widened. She looked at him, uncertain, her blush deepening. "It's not like that," she said, trying to explain, but her voice lacked the authority to convince her family. The family gathered closer, speaking in their own language for a moment before one of them translated. "The customs are clear. If you recognize her beauty publicly, you are expected to honor it through union. We request that you seriously consider marriage with our daughter." Ethan felt his stomach drop. Marriage. He had not even known Lyra for more than a few minutes. His mind raced. How could he navigate this without causing offense? I am honored by your respect," he began carefully, "but I come from a culture where compliments do not carry such weight. I did not intend." "Intent is irrelevant," Lyra's elder said firmly. "The gesture itself has obligations. You will follow our customs or risk dishonor to yourself and her family." Ethan glanced at Lyra. Her expression was a mixture of embarrassment, anxiety, and a faint spark of amusement. He could see she understood his dilemma. "I see," he said slowly, trying to choose his words. "Then I will do my best to understand your customs. I promise no disrespect." The eldest nodded, seemingly satisfied for the moment. "Very well. Tomorrow you will meet our family formally. There will be discussions. You will answer questions and undergo a process that determines your suitability." Ethan swallowed hard. "Questions?" "Tests," the elder clarified. "Tests of character, judgment, and integrity. Do not take them lightly. Our family's approval is not given easily." Lyra's eyes softened and she spoke quietly to Ethan. "I hope they do not frighten you too much. It is tradition, but it can be daunting." Ethan smiled nervously. "I suppose I'm learning that already." He wanted to reassure her, but he felt the weight of the situation pressing down. He had never been involved in anything like this before, and now, suddenly, his entire visit depended on navigating alien customs he barely understood. As the festival continued around them, Ethan walked beside Lyra, observing the intricate dances, the flowing garments, and the vibrant colors. Each moment made him more aware of how different her world was from his. Yet he found himself appreciating the details, the precision in their movements, the elegance in their architecture, the music that seemed to flow directly into the soul. By the time they returned to her family's estate, Ethan's mind was racing with questions. How serious was this tradition? How long had it existed? Could he actually earn their approval, or would he embarrass himself before he even had the chance to explain himself? Her family received him formally that evening, in a hall adorned with glowing murals depicting their ancestors and history. Lyra's parents watched him carefully, their expressions neutral but alert. Her brother studied him with intense eyes, while other relatives whispered quietly, observing every movement and word. Ethan bowed politely, trying to mirror the gestures he had seen. He felt clumsy, but the effort seemed appreciated. Lyra's mother finally spoke, her voice gentle yet commanding. "You are far from home, human. We understand your culture is different, but here, words carry weight. You must demonstrate that you can respect and honor our traditions." Ethan nodded earnestly. "I will. I want to understand. I will do my best to follow your customs and show respect." The family's eldest exchanged a glance with Lyra's father, then nodded. "Very well. Tomorrow begins your first trial. You will see whether your actions and decisions reflect the qualities we value. You will also learn more about our daughter, as she will guide you in understanding our ways." Ethan's heart raced. The day had begun with a simple compliment, yet it had escalated into something far more significant than he could have imagined. He looked at Lyra, who gave him a small, encouraging smile. Despite the tension, there was a spark of connection, a silent understanding that they were both navigating this new situation together. As he lay in the guest quarters that night, Ethan reflected on the day's events. He had crossed a line without knowing it, yet now he was given a chance to prove himself. He thought about Lyra, her beauty, yes, but also her kindness, her intelligence, and her quiet strength. Perhaps this challenge was not only about tradition or obligation. Perhaps it was also an opportunity for connection, for understanding, for bridging worlds. The twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the alien landscape. Ethan felt a strange mix of excitement and apprehension. He had no idea what the next day would bring, but one thing was clear. His life had changed in ways he could not have predicted. And somehow, amid all the uncertainty, he felt a spark of hope. Tomorrow he would face the family. Tomorrow he would navigate trials that were both strange and demanding. But he also knew that, whatever happened, he was not alone. Lyra was there, and somehow, her presence made the challenges seem a little less daunting. Ethan drifted to sleep, his mind filled with glowing images of the festival, the swirling colors, and the face of the alien woman who had unknowingly turned his mission into something far more personal and far more extraordinary than he had ever imagined. The morning light filtered through the tall, arched windows of the estate, casting soft patterns on the floor. Ethan woke to the gentle hum of the alien world outside. He sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing his eyes, and tried to steady his thoughts. Today was the day he would meet Lyra's family formally, face their questions, and undergo their tests. The thought made him nervous, but he reminded himself that he had always handled difficult situations before. This, however, felt different. This was not just a challenge. It was about trust, respect, and understanding a culture entirely unlike his own. He dressed carefully in the attire provided by the family, a tunic of smooth, flowing fabric that shimmered faintly. He studied himself in the mirror. The human sense of pride in clothing seemed trivial compared to the elegance of the garments here, but he wanted to make a good impression. Taking a deep breath, he stepped out into the corridor where Lyra was waiting. She smiled at him, and for a moment he forgot the tension. "Good morning," she said softly. "Are you ready?" "As ready as I'll ever be," Ethan replied, returning the smile. Lyra led him to the main hall where her family was already assembled. The room was grand, adorned with symbols of their heritage, murals depicting important events, and artifacts that hummed softly with energy. The air carried a faint fragrance, unfamiliar but pleasant, that seemed to calm Ethan's nerves slightly. Her father, tall and imposing, gestured for him to come forward. "Ethan," he said in measured tones, "we welcome you. Today we will learn about each other. We will see whether you understand our values and whether you are worthy of our daughter's trust." Ethan nodded. "I am honored and I will do my best." The first part of the day involved conversation and observation. Lyra's family asked Ethan about Earth, its cultures, its technologies, and its people. He answered honestly, sometimes stumbling over questions about social customs, but he spoke with sincerity. His honesty seemed to resonate with them, even when his explanations were different from their expectations. Lyra's mother, a gentle but firm woman, watched him closely. "You speak well and your intentions seem genuine," she said. "But actions speak louder than words. Soon, you will face challenges that test your character in ways beyond conversation." Ethan felt a thrill of anxiety mixed with anticipation. "I understand. I will do my best to prove myself." After the morning discussions, Lyra guided him through the first test, a series of puzzles designed to evaluate judgment and logical thinking. Unlike the mental challenges Ethan was used to, these puzzles required an understanding of alien symbols, energy flows, and patterns that changed depending on environmental conditions. Ethan struggled at first, but with patience, observation, and guidance from Lyra, he began to see the logic behind the symbols. "You're thinking too rigidly," Lyra advised. "Try to feel the pattern, not just see it." Ethan nodded and shifted his approach. Slowly, the puzzles started to make sense. He felt a surge of satisfaction as he completed one after another, realizing that his human problem-solving skills were effective when combined with an open mind and careful observation. Lyra smiled, clearly impressed, though she tried to hide it behind a neutral expression. By midday, Ethan was exhausted but exhilarated. He had passed the first round of challenges and had earned a small measure of respect from the family, but the tests were only beginning. The next part involved physical trials, not just strength, but agility, coordination, and quick thinking. The family led him to an open courtyard filled with strange devices and obstacles. Some appeared to float, others reacted to touch or proximity. Ethan realized he would need to move carefully, anticipate responses, and trust his instincts. Lyra followed, watching closely. The first obstacle was a platform that shifted its position whenever pressure was applied. Ethan hesitated for a moment, then studied the motion patterns. He timed his steps, moving with cautious precision. The platform tilted dangerously at one point, but he managed to maintain his balance. Lyra's soft laugh echoed in the courtyard when he succeeded. "You're learning quickly," she said. Next came a series of energy fields that reacted to motion. Ethan had to pass through without triggering alarms or traps. He concentrated, noting the rhythm of the fields, and moved with careful timing. Each success made him more confident, though his muscles ached and sweat beaded on his forehead. Finally, they reached the last challenge, a test of collaboration. Ethan and Lyra had to navigate a maze together, relying on communication, trust, and shared problem-solving. Ethan found this both daunting and exhilarating. He realized that understanding Lyra and working with her was more important than completing the maze quickly. "Trust me," Lyra said, taking his hand gently. "I know the way, but you need to follow carefully." Ethan nodded. They moved through the maze, talking quietly, pointing out observations and avoiding pitfalls. The experience brought them closer, and Ethan began to appreciate her intelligence, patience, and subtle humor. He also noticed small moments of vulnerability in her, a reminder that she was human-like in emotions despite being alien in appearance. When they finally emerged from the maze, the family applauded. Ethan was breathing heavily, his uniform damp with sweat, but a proud smile spread across his face. The family exchanged approving glances. "Impressive," the eldest said. "You demonstrate not only skill but humility and adaptability. These qualities are highly valued." Ethan bowed politely. "Thank you. I am grateful for your guidance." Lyra's eyes met his, and he felt a warmth that went beyond simple attraction. There was mutual respect, curiosity, and a growing connection that neither of them had expected. The afternoon was spent in quieter discussions, where Ethan learned about Lyra's personal achievements, her dreams, and the responsibilities she carried within her family. Lyra shared stories of her education, her training in diplomacy, and her interest in exploring other worlds. Ethan was fascinated by her ambition and intelligence, and he found himself opening up about his own life, his work on interstellar engineering projects, his experiences on Earth, and his hopes for the future. "You're very different from anyone I've met," Lyra said softly. "Not in appearance, of course, but in the way you think and feel. It's refreshing." Ethan smiled. "I could say the same about you. You have a strength and clarity I admire. I never expected to meet someone like you here." As the day drew to a close, Lyra's family gathered for a final evaluation. They asked questions that tested his judgment, ethics, and understanding of both cultures. Ethan answered honestly, never trying to impress with exaggeration but showing genuine thoughtfulness and respect. After a long pause, the eldest finally spoke. "Ethan, you have performed well today. You have shown curiosity, humility, courage, and a willingness to learn. These are qualities we value greatly. While there is still much to observe, we believe you are a promising candidate to continue this journey with our daughter." Ethan exhaled in relief. "Thank you. I promise to continue learning and to respect your traditions." Lyra's smile was bright and genuine. "I think we both learned a lot today," she said quietly, and there was a note of amusement in her tone that made Ethan's heart skip a beat. That night, as they walked through the gardens of the estate, Ethan felt a strange mix of emotions: excitement, nervousness, and a growing fondness for Lyra. The gardens were alive with glowing plants, and the soft hum of energy resonated in the air. He reached out and touched a flower that shimmered beneath his fingers, amazed by the subtle vibrations it emitted. "You're learning quickly," Lyra said, observing him. "Most visitors struggle to even understand the patterns, let alone complete the physical tests." "I had a good teacher," Ethan replied with a small smile, "and maybe a little luck." Lyra laughed softly, the sound like music to his ears. "Luck is important, but so is effort. You've shown both." They walked in silence for a few moments, enjoying the calm of the night. Ethan felt a sense of connection, not only to Lyra but to this world, this culture, and the possibilities that lay ahead. He realized that what had begun as a simple compliment had transformed into an unexpected journey, one that challenged him, inspired him, and opened his heart in ways he had never imagined. By the time they returned to their quarters, Ethan felt a deep sense of purpose. He had passed the first day of trials, earned a measure of respect, and begun to understand Lyra in a way that words alone could not capture. He lay down, thinking of her smile, her voice, and the moments of shared understanding that had made the day extraordinary. Tomorrow promised more challenges, more opportunities to learn, and perhaps a deeper bond with Lyra. Ethan closed his eyes, feeling a mixture of anticipation and hope. For the first time, he understood that connection, true connection, could bridge even the vastest of differences, and that respect, courage, and honesty could open doors he had never expected. As the twin moons rose above the estate, casting silver light across the gardens, Ethan felt ready. He did not know exactly what the future held, but he knew one thing with certainty. He was willing to embrace it, step by step, alongside Lyra. The next morning, Ethan woke before sunrise, the alien sky painted in shades of pink and gold. Today was to be the final test, the one that would truly show whether he could earn the respect of Lyra's family. While the puzzles and physical challenges of the previous day had tested his mind and body, this trial would test his courage, judgment, and heart. Ethan felt a nervous thrill mixed with determination. He knew he had come far, but he also understood that the stakes were higher than ever. Lyra met him outside the quarters, her expression calm but focused. "Are you ready?" she asked softly, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. Ethan nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be. I won't let this opportunity slip away." They walked in silence to the training grounds, where a large, open space had been prepared for the final trial. Strange structures rose from the ground, their surfaces smooth and reflective, glowing faintly. Energy hums resonated through the air. It was clear that this was not a simple test of strength or intelligence. It would challenge them in ways neither of them could fully predict. Her father approached, his gaze steady. "This test will measure your ability to act under pressure, to protect and to lead, and to show that your intentions are honorable. You must demonstrate courage and presence of mind. Are you prepared?" Ethan took a deep breath. "Yes, sir. I will do my best." The first part of the trial was an obstacle course, but unlike any physical test Ethan had encountered before. The structures shifted as he moved, creating new challenges constantly. Platforms tilted, barriers rose and fell, and energy fields pulsed unpredictably. Lyra moved beside him, her pace controlled and precise. "Watch the rhythm," she advised. "Predicting movement is half the challenge. Acting recklessly will only bring danger." Ethan followed her lead, observing the patterns carefully. He stepped onto a floating platform that swayed under his weight, adjusting his balance. A barrier rose unexpectedly, forcing him to leap just in time. He landed safely on the other side, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "You're learning quickly," Lyra said, her voice steady. "Keep focused." As they progressed through the course, the obstacles became more complex, requiring coordination and trust. At one point, a section required Ethan to carry Lyra across a gap while balancing on a narrow beam. He hesitated, realizing the weight of the responsibility. "Trust me," Lyra said softly, placing her hand on his arm. "I trust you." Ethan's heart pounded. He carefully lifted her, adjusting his steps with precision. Every movement required concentration. Every misstep could result in failure. But step by step, he carried her safely across. When they reached solid ground, Lyra smiled, a mixture of relief and admiration shining in her eyes. "See," she said quietly, "you can do more than you think." The next challenge tested judgment and empathy. A simulation was activated, creating a scenario where multiple beings were in danger due to unstable energy fields. Ethan had to make quick decisions, choosing whom to help first, while ensuring no one was harmed. The simulation was realistic, almost overwhelming, but Ethan relied on his instincts and the knowledge he had gained about Lyra's culture and people. He acted decisively, prioritizing the most vulnerable while signaling others to safety. Each choice he made demonstrated thoughtfulness and courage, qualities the family had emphasized from the beginning. Lyra observed silently, her expression thoughtful. She could see the care in his actions, the honesty in his decisions, and the human intuition that guided him. Finally, the most challenging part of the trial was revealed, a symbolic challenge designed to honor the ancestors. It required them to navigate a complex labyrinth, filled with illusions and tests of perception. The labyrinth shifted constantly, and at one point a holographic predator appeared, representing danger and fear. Lyra tensed, her instincts on high alert. Ethan's mind raced. He had never faced anything like this, but he remembered Lyra's words: trust, observation, patience. He moved carefully, analyzing each illusion, supporting Lyra whenever needed. When the holographic predator lunged, Ethan shielded her instinctively, stepping forward to take the symbolic danger upon himself. The hologram dissipated, and for a moment, silence hung in the air. Lyra looked at him wide-eyed. "You didn't have to do that," she said softly. "I did," Ethan replied, his voice steady. "It was the right thing to do." The family emerged from the shadows of the labyrinth, their expressions a mix of pride and approval. The eldest approached Ethan, his eyes sharp but kind. "You have shown courage, intelligence, and integrity. Most importantly, you have shown a willingness to act for others without hesitation or self-interest. These are the qualities we value most." Ethan bowed respectfully. "Thank you, I only did what felt right." Lyra stepped forward, taking Ethan's hand. "You've proven yourself in ways I could not have expected," she said quietly. "I am proud to know you." For a moment, the tension melted away. The family's approval was evident, and Ethan felt a deep sense of relief and accomplishment. The trials had been challenging, but they had also brought him closer to Lyra. Their bond had strengthened, built on trust, respect, and shared experiences. As they walked back to the estate, Lyra's mother spoke. "Tomorrow, we will discuss the future. Your actions have shown us your character, but we must also consider the responsibilities you are willing to accept. Marriage in our culture is not merely a union between two individuals. It is a joining of families, a commitment to uphold traditions and values. Are you prepared for this?" Ethan nodded. "I am. I want to continue learning, and I want to respect your culture in every way I can." The evening was quiet, filled with conversation and reflection. Ethan and Lyra shared stories of their childhoods, their hopes for the future, and the dreams that had shaped them. Ethan found himself fascinated by Lyra's resilience, her intelligence, and her quiet strength. He also realized how much he had grown, how the challenges had pushed him to be more patient, more observant, and more thoughtful. "I never imagined that a simple compliment could lead to all this," Ethan said with a smile, looking at Lyra. "Neither did I," she admitted, laughing softly. "But sometimes small gestures carry great weight. Today, we have learned much about each other." Ethan reached out and took her hand gently. "I hope there will be more days like this, days where we continue to learn, to grow, and to understand each other." Lyra squeezed his hand. "I hope so too. You have shown me that humans can surprise us in the best ways. I am curious to see where this path will lead." As the twin moons rose, casting silver light across the gardens, Ethan felt a sense of peace he had not experienced before. The trials had tested him, challenged him, and ultimately shaped him into someone who could stand alongside Lyra, not just as a visitor, but as a partner worthy of respect and trust. That night, as he lay in the guest quarters, Ethan reflected on the day's events. He realized that courage was not just about facing physical danger. It was about making the right choices, protecting others, and acting with integrity even when the outcome was uncertain. Lyra's presence had given him strength, and her faith in him had inspired confidence, he did not know he possessed. Tomorrow would bring discussion and reflection, perhaps even the beginning of the journey toward union. Ethan closed his eyes, feeling a mixture of anticipation and hope. He had passed the trials, proven his character, and deepened his connection with Lyra. The path ahead was still uncertain, but he knew one thing. He was willing to embrace it fully, with honesty, courage, and an open heart. The world outside was quiet now, the soft hum of energy and distant music a gentle reminder of the life and vibrancy surrounding him. Ethan drifted into sleep, dreaming of the adventures to come, of challenges to face, and of the bond growing between him and the alien woman who had changed everything with a single compliment. The next morning, Ethan woke to a calm sky, the twin suns rising slowly over the horizon, casting long shadows across the estate gardens. Today would be different. The trials were over, the tests completed, and now the focus was on understanding, reflection, and discussion. The family had invited him to a final meeting to determine the future, his place alongside Lyra, and the responsibilities that would come with it. Ethan felt a mixture of anticipation and nervousness. Lyra met him outside, her expression calm but expectant. "Are you ready for what comes next?" she asked softly. Ethan nodded. "I am. I've learned a lot these past days, and I hope I can continue to do so. I want to respect your culture and your family." She smiled, brushing her silver hair behind her ear. "You have already shown more than most do. The rest is about conversation and choice." They walked together to the main hall, where Lyra's family was gathered. The room was filled with soft light, the walls decorated with symbols of their history and culture. There was a sense of serenity, as if the estate itself recognized the importance of this moment. Her father spoke first, his voice firm but kind. "Ethan, over the past days, you have demonstrated courage, intelligence, and respect. You have shown understanding of our culture, and your actions have reflected honor and integrity. Now, it is time to discuss the future." Ethan took a deep breath. "I am grateful for the opportunities you have given me. I understand the importance of your traditions and values, and I am willing to continue learning and honoring them." Lyra's mother stepped forward, her gaze gentle. "Marriage in our culture is not simply a union between two individuals. It represents trust, collaboration, and the joining of families. We must understand your willingness to accept these responsibilities, not only for our daughter but for our people." Ethan nodded earnestly. "I understand. I am ready to take on these responsibilities. I hope to honor Lyra and her family, and to continue building a bond that respects both our worlds." Lyra's brother, who had observed him closely throughout the trials, spoke next. "You have shown that you can adapt, that you can think clearly under pressure, and that you act with courage and kindness. These are qualities we respect. But there is one more consideration: your intentions. Are they genuine? Do you wish to build a life with Lyra, not for status or obligation but for mutual respect and care?" Ethan looked at Lyra, her eyes meeting his. He could see trust and hope there, and he knew his answer must reflect his heart. "My intentions are genuine," he said firmly. "I have come to respect Lyra deeply. I care for her, and I want to build a life together that honors both her and her culture. I do not act out of obligation or desire for status. I act because it is right and because I wish to be with her." The room was silent for a moment. Then slowly, Lyra's father nodded. "Your words reflect your actions over the past days. We have observed your courage, your thoughtfulness, and your willingness to learn. We believe that you are worthy of trust and respect. If you wish, you may pursue a union with our daughter, knowing the responsibilities it entails." Ethan's heart swelled with relief and gratitude. "I will," he said simply, bowing respectfully. Lyra stepped forward, her expression bright. "Ethan, I trust you. You have shown me courage, kindness, and understanding. I wish to walk this path with you, learning from each other, respecting each other, and building a life together." Ethan reached out and took her hand gently. "I would be honored," he said, feeling the warmth of her grasp and the weight of the moment. The family gathered around, expressing their approval with nods and quiet words. The atmosphere shifted from tension and judgment to celebration and acceptance. Ethan had not only earned their respect, but had also begun to forge a bond that could unite their worlds. After the formal discussion, the family invited Ethan and Lyra to walk through the estate gardens, a place where many important decisions and ceremonies had taken place over generations. The gardens were alive with soft light, glowing plants, and delicate sounds that seemed to harmonize with the rhythm of the world. Ethan marveled at the beauty, feeling both humbled and inspired. "You've done well," Lyra said quietly as they walked along a path lined with luminescent flowers. "I think both our families will be pleased with what we have achieved together." Ethan smiled, looking at her. "I couldn't have done it without you. You guided me, supported me, and helped me understand your world. I feel like we've learned a lot from each other." Lyra's eyes softened. "We have, and this is only the beginning. There will be challenges, of course, but I believe we can face them together." They continued walking, talking about their hopes for the future. Ethan shared ideas for projects that could benefit both humans and Lyra's people, combining technology, resources, and cultural understanding. Lyra listened attentively, offering suggestions and insights from her own experiences. Their conversation flowed easily, filled with curiosity, respect, and quiet excitement. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the gardens, the family gathered once more to witness a small ceremonial event, a tradition of their culture symbolizing commitment and partnership. It was not a formal marriage yet, but a promise, a shared understanding of intentions, responsibilities, and mutual respect. Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, holding hands, as her family recited the words of the ceremony. The air was filled with a soft, melodic hum that resonated through the gardens, creating a sense of harmony and unity. Ethan felt a deep sense of connection, not only to Lyra but to her family, her culture, and this vibrant world he had come to understand. When the ceremony concluded, Lyra's father spoke. "You have shown courage, wisdom, and honor. Today marks the beginning of your journey together, one that will be guided by respect, trust, and understanding. May your bond strengthen, and may you continue to learn from each other and from the worlds you represent." Ethan bowed deeply. "Thank you. I will honor this promise and do everything I can to respect and support Lyra and her people." Lyra smiled, her eyes bright with emotion. "And I will honor you, Ethan. Together, we will face whatever comes, and we will grow stronger through understanding and care." The family smiled, clearly satisfied, and the atmosphere became light and celebratory. Ethan and Lyra spent the rest of the evening walking through the estate, enjoying quiet moments together, sharing laughter, and imagining the future. For Ethan, it was a moment of profound realization, how a simple compliment had led to an incredible journey, one that had challenged him, taught him, and brought him closer to an extraordinary person. Later, as they watched the twin moons rise, their silver light reflecting in Lyra's eyes, Ethan felt a sense of peace he had never known. He had faced tests, navigated alien customs, and proven his character. But more than that, he had found a connection that transcended differences, a bond built on respect, courage, and genuine care. Lyra rested her head on his shoulder. "It feels surreal," she whispered. "A few days ago, I barely knew you, and now we know each other better," Ethan finished softly, "and we have the chance to build something meaningful together." She smiled, and for the first time, Ethan felt the full weight of the journey he had undertaken. It was not just about tradition or obligation. It was about trust, understanding, and the willingness to grow together. He realized that this was only the beginning, and that the future, though uncertain, was filled with promise. As the night deepened, Ethan and Lyra returned to their quarters, hand in hand. The lights of the estate shimmered softly around them, casting a warm glow on the paths they had walked and the trials they had overcome. Ethan felt a profound gratitude for the experiences, for the lessons, and for Lyra herself. Before falling asleep, he thought back to the moment when he had first complimented her beauty. He had never imagined that such a simple gesture could lead to such a transformative journey. It had challenged him, inspired him, and ultimately connected him with someone remarkable. He realized that understanding and respect could bridge even the greatest differences, and that courage, honesty, and care could create bonds stronger than tradition alone. Lyra slept quietly beside him, and Ethan watched her for a moment, marveling at the serenity and strength she carried. He knew that together they could face whatever challenges awaited, not as strangers from different worlds, but as partners, united by trust, respect, and a shared vision for the future. As the twin moons cast silver light over the estate, Ethan closed his eyes, feeling a sense of hope and certainty. The journey had been unexpected, filled with trials and learning, but it had led him to something extraordinary. He had earned trust, forged a bond, and discovered that a simple compliment, spoken with honesty, could change everything. And in that quiet moment, with Lyra beside him and the stars stretching infinitely above, Ethan knew that the future, no matter what it held, was something he would face with courage, respect, and an open heart, side by side with the alien woman who had become so much more than a stranger, so much more than a fleeting encounter. She had become his partner, his friend, and the beginning of a life he had never imagined.